So I'm gonna preface this rant with some brief thoughts on, as you can tell, for those who actually listen um, to this rant cast, I have kind of been expressing how fed up I am with online reactions and pitchforking and reacting in anger and negativity and so on, and fixations on drama. And I still maintain that position. But so last night I took in a bit of content. I'm actually really glad I did take in this bit of content from Joe Budden TV, where he's talking. This was actually an old episode, so this was like an episode from a couple episodes back. He was talking about, they were discussing the whole Starbucks boycott scenario, and he made this point which was really funny to me. I actually found it quite hilarious. The concept of now being able to boycotting an organization or brand that you already did not like. And I think they run down some very brief examples, sarcastically of, he liked football, so he wasn't really trying to boycott football, but he boycotted it. I forgot he said Sabrina Claudio was another one, and then Uber was another one. And I think that this kind of raises a larger point around the picking and choosing of boycotting. I think people they find it easier to boycott things they already don't like. But then when it's something that really is a bit closer to their own interests, suddenly it's like, oh, I can't boycott that. Maybe they don't necessarily frame it in that way. Maybe they don't necessarily will ever admit that publicly. But that's something that I've seen and I've witnessed firsthand. I think one example is actually there was a conversation at a dinner I was at, or a lunch. It was a lunch. The person was very, for whatever reason, had this ethical anti-weed stance, even though weed is becoming legalized. But that was in one breath. They sort of went off on weed legalization and all the so-called dangers of it becoming legal. Whether they're justified in that reaction or not, that was their stance. However, they kind of had this. I've spoken about this. The pro not having a problem with Money Mart existing, or the LCBO, or the beer store, or the wine rack existing, or using Uber. Even that in and of itself. Even though Uber no longer really operates in that gray area of legality and bylaw and so on, law and so on. But then having this stance against weed legalization and weed dispensaries and weed shops and so on. So, again, people will pick and choose. And not to make this point again, this is all tied to what I'm talking about. This is tied to the larger theme and kind of where I'm going with this rant. The denouncing of Facebook, and looking at Facebook's numbers, there's more users, more registered users now than before the Cambridge Analytica scandal, and Mark Zuckerberg has made an extra few billion on top of that. Shows you how people's anger, how far it really goes, right? But again, using Facebook and being pissed off about Facebook, and then using Instagram or WhatsApp. You pick and choose the things that you hate, even if there's plenty of other things that are in the same ballpark that you probably should be boycotting or hating or being displeased with. So, Again, Joe Budden podcast, they go on about that theme. And lately, so I guess in this now kind of time of open dialogue and open discourse online, digitally, you're seeing, and again, this is the celebrity culture thing, you're seeing popular figures, public figures, musicians, artists, or whatever, publicly taking some form of a stance, which then allows people to say, you know what, we're canceling this dude. So lately it's been like a, I guess Chance the Rapper he tweeted out, blacks don't have to be Democrats. People want to cancel him. People want to cancel Common because he's saying that, you know, blacks should extend a kind of an olive branch to white people and sort of get past the historical grievances of slavery and so on. They want to cancel Common now. Daniel Caesar retweets a couple of Candace Owens' tweets about the victim mentality. I believe it was the victim mentality, the victim consciousness scenario. Let me see. Fuck, I wish I should have prepared. Chance, I wonder, someone telling me Chance doesn't really tweet that much. Oh no, what was it? Chance? Oh no, it was Daniel Caesar that I was just talking about. I actually just saw the Chance tweets. Daniel Caesar. Here we go. Daniel Caesar. Sorry, folks. I'm just looking for it. Whatever. The point is, he retweeted a couple of things from Candace Owens, which pissed people off, of course. And as a result, people are looking at him sideways. And another theme that came up with the Daniel Caesar thing is that black Americans are kind of like, y'all black people who aren't in the US, who don't know the black experience, should not be commenting on our experience. And this is something that I've often made it a point to say. About when I often kind of briefly discuss things in the African American community. Say, I'm not African American. Sorry, got interrupted there. So I'm not African American, therefore it's this unique experience that I can often not really comprehend or have a deeper insight, regardless of whatever I identify with on the spectrum of, you know, the black diaspora, or in that realm, being quote unquote black Canadian, having a heritage that spans multiple black countries, being Canadian and so on. But it's also, that's a dangerous road to go down, because it means that you're essentially, and I get someone, an African American, can hear me and say like, who the fuck are you to be? It's like, you shouldn't even be saying anything. But it seems like other people have now, when you're talking about allies, and I think this is kind of what Common's getting at, are you really going to just box out people to your own detriment? Because there's a lot of people standing up for Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement and other movements, people standing up for the Aboriginal community. It's like once you start excluding people, it's kind of hard to work together, which to me is the whole larger point, is the working together, which we've in many ways with a lot of the identity politics taking a step back. But anyway, the point is Daniel Caesar retweets some Candace Owens. He's getting canceled. People want to cancel him. People seem to have definitely canceled Kanye. and I think some of us have canceled him a long time ago. But anyway, he's officially being canceled by people, by the collective. And so now we have a scenario with Nas. Khalees has gone and discussed domestic abuse that took place in their marriage. And I'm not going to get into, this is just me stating what she has said. Y'all are going to come and say allegedly versus non-allegedly, wait for a statement, so on and so forth. I don't want to necessarily go there with this rant. What I do want to go with is inserting myself into this from a standpoint of the larger kind of theme of cancellations and when it affects my own personal experience. Meaning, what is one of the things that I saw this on Twitter, and I'm going to actually read this because I responded. I can find this easily because I responded to the tweet that kind of triggered me in a way. So first of all, when I already saw the headline, I'm like, Nas, you're gonna get canceled here. Nas is in my top whatever number of rappers. Probably for a very long time was my favorite. And to see this, I'm like, Nas, man, this is true, you're canceled. But we can go further. Because what is one of the things that Khalees said? Someone on Twitter called username King Remy Ma. She summarizes it. Khalees said when her son was 3 months old, Nas stopped paying the house mortgage, and he didn't tell her that he stopped paying. And he didn't tell her that he stopped paying it. So when she came home, she had a foreclosure sign on the door. She called Nas to ask what's going on, and he told her to go fuck herself. And that really was like a triggering. That solidified the cancellation more. Why? This is kind of getting into details of my life a bit. And it didn't actually. So I responded to that tweet. I'm like, my pops is guilty of this foolishness. I didn't experience it firsthand, but because I don't want to put too much of my own family out there. Let's put it like this: my father remarried and was more or less the breadwinner, and pulled that stunt on the woman he remarried. But it was actually a bit of a different scenario. He got a job out of town, sold the house. She wasn't working. And there was a very long... Well, I think she might have been working a bit. Anyway, there's a long story behind that. But she also had mental health issues. So he sold the house and moved. I think he sold the house and was already gone out of town while she was still living there. And then eventually she had to take off, go live in public housing where she still lives. So till this day, and this was in like the late 90s that happened. And she's kind of, anyway. So that story is relatable to me. Didn't happen to me directly, but my dad pulled some. Like my parents were only married for a year, but my dad was like, if you're looking for like a stereotypical, archetypal kind of shit father, he was up there. Not going as far as physical abuse, at least in my case, but the mental part of it for sure. Now, I read this, I get triggered, and I say to myself, the smoke is almost enough in this scenario. Because this is the thing, and this is where I'm kind of relating this, but this is where I'm, circling back to the theme of when we pick and choose who we boycott, we pick and choose who we cancel, or what we cancel. Um, and right here, I'm more than ready to cancel. In fact, I've mentally disconnected myself from Nas. And this is where the celebrity we've idolized and put these people on pedestals. In a lot of ways, because they've created art. Here's actually another one that actually recently came out. Gandhi was Gandhi, and some either it was statements or some of his ideology and philosophies anti-black, and that was another one where people were kind of like, okay, so how do we separate what he's done from another social justice standpoint historically, and these other specific beliefs? And now it's venturing into and I think, but it's different there in the social justice standpoint. But even from an artistic standpoint, we have come to put these people on such pedestals that we start to very extreme cases like Kanye. Then you have R. Kelly, who's also canceled, who should have been. He's another one, man. Like, I remember they were trying to sell. There was a store downtown here that tried to actually sell the sex tape, the original sex tape when it was like peeing, pissing on the girl or whatever. People were trying to sell that DVD in this city back in the 2002, I think it was like 2003. And sorry for I just went off in my head there a bit, but we have examples of so many celebrity examples of people who should have been canceled, who we theoretically say we're canceling, and then they reemerge. Chris Brown may be a perfect example. Still has a very lucrative career. Well, maybe not, but that's not even the point, whether he does or he doesn't. Bill Cosby today also found guilty. People canceled him immediately. And you wonder how many... We have such a long line of celebrities and public figures who should be canceled, yet we don't cancel them. Yet, we don't cancel the ones that we already have there's like a queue, basically. There's like a line. It's like you have X number of people in the queue that should be canceled. And we can't even really bring people as a collective. People, maybe individually, yeah, sure. But collectively, people haven't even began to cancel the rest of these people. And then we're still like creating a longer list. And at some point we got to say, where is this list of cancellations? We got to take it's like action being taken specifically. People are still walking around with careers. Their music's still being streamed and supported. And it's an interesting argument when people come and say, damn, that album was classic, man. Why did you have to do that? Or whatever it is that they were accused of doing or they did or whatever. And it's like, it's the separation of... Another theme that came up, or another topic, was we didn't cancel Biggie. We didn't cancel Pac. Maybe is it time for them to be sort of canceled as cultural heroes or icons or figures, And it's one of those questions that when you really get into the question and you open it up and you look at it from the different angles and you see the list, like this list I'm saying, the queue of people who should be canceled at this point. It's like a Pandora's box of I don't even know if we know the scope or the grasp, the reach or the range of how far this can really go. because we're outing celebrities. But then now, I mean, I would like to see more examples of not necessarily high level people being kind of exposed or outed when it gets to like a more community, like this guy down the street, or this person did this, or this person did that works at the store. Some creepy comments were made by this particular employee at this store. I think that's when it really gets more interesting. When we start canceling the more accessible people. When we start canceling day-to-day people. That creepy guy that's always making that comment, start canceling him. And or more, I'm using cancel kind of as like as a catch-all term, as for like the prosecution, the charging, and all that. But then there's that element of the witch hunt. When do we start, looking or hunting down others? Hunting down, it's like people, it becomes I said witch hunt. Eventually can become a real world pitchforking. In any case, those are my thoughts on, I think I've covered what I wanted to say with that. Sad shit, yo. Like, there's been a lot of like cancellations of people in the past couple weeks. I wonder where the head is coming. Anyway, respect. Peace.